Welcome to the Inspired Evolution, and this is Amrit here, your humble host, and it's an absolute pleasure and a treat to be coming to you today. And today is definitely a highlight for me. I get to share this space, share this time, and bring to you the vibes from Murray Kyle. Murray, how are you, brother?
Hello. I'm very well. Thank you.
For those tuning in and unaware of Murray's gorgeous exploits, Murray is a mystic troubadour. He's a sacred song carrier, he's a father, he's a builder of dreams. Hailing from the visionary Byron Bay region of Australia, this mystic troubadour has built a dedicated international fan base from 15 years of purely grassroots touring all over the world. The concerts are super intimate, super beautiful. His live performances of heart-based medicine and earth-honouring songs successfully blends conscious lyrics and authenticity with a super well-produced sound. The inner world of this profound artist comes alive on stage, spanning shamanic soul, conscious roots, the world, and sacred music genres. It is such a treat to have you here, brother.
Thank you.
And just having you here, but also just the work that you do, just through like the song and the sound. We initially connected when I saw you. Oh, well, you were on your way to Melbourne, but I think in physical when I saw you play the intimate concert in Melbourne in the church, and it was amazing. Obviously, the songs are, for those that are tuning in for the first time, a lot of the people that will be here would have already heard the songs many a times. We can all attest to just how much potency there is in there. And I think even when you were in between, there was like these little pauses where you would share just the wisdom and a lot of conversations around water and the earth and our relationship with that really for me was really potent in terms of just the authenticity and the rawness with which you express yourself. And for me, that really dialed into having a chat around, I guess, authenticity, but also like exploring your inspirations, and just tapping into the journey, man. Because even as I've witnessed you playing and all that, and the essence of the journey, man, is a big vibe that you portray, which I'm super, super curious and super feeling blessed to have you here and to explore that today.
Thank you, Amrit. What a warm welcome. I love the way you kicked it off with such a contagious energy too.
I do my best. It's it's a weird thing where that started, but here we are nonetheless. It's at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah, it's like a little glass of bubbly to start with.
So your relationship with the guitar, lifelong or music, always been this way, or?
Yeah, okay, well, I just want to kick off by saying, great to be connected in this space and sharing the pollination, of inspiration and knowledge, and what a beautiful project you've launched, and just these portals where we can access, the wisdom, the daily wisdom, the humble, just simple wisdom for our lives is so important in this time. So thank you for the invitation. My journey with music, sometimes it feels like it's been a few lifetimes, but of recent times, I started learning piano as a child, much to my discontent at the time. And so piano was my first instrument. It gave me a great kind of a visual layout of melody and of the scales and stuff, which has been amazing to have that through the years. And I then went on, I grew up down in Sydney. I was playing bassoon in like an orchestra for a while. I was playing keyboards in a high school jazz band and learned a little bit of guitar back then. Mm-hmm. I sort of dropped music then for a few years. I started traveling. I was in and out of Oz. I was over in Africa. I was in Asia for a while, different things like that. And along the way, I started writing, poetry, and it soon became melodic. So I picked up guitar again. It's the kind of perfect companion when you're traveling around, a little guitar, sling it on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So started playing guitar again. Started writing songs, and I did a fair amount of time in India chanting kirtan. That was another real sort of strong part of my musical journey. Just lots and lots of hours of chanting every day, which I still love to do from time to time. And there's so much I could say about music, but basically I just want to share it's such a companion, it's such a good friend in my life. And, in tough times that I've gone through, music's been there, as a channel for transformation, as a tool to move through some of the bigger experiences, to sing up the celebrations and to sing through the inevitable tribulations of this ride as well.
Yeah, wow. There's a couple of things in there. So what I'm really curious about is, so you mentioned that you did some traveling through Africa, Asia, and also like India as well, and then poetry was coming to the fore. Do you think traveling had something to do in there with the inspiration that came through for the poetry, or was poetry always something that you were like, where did that stem from?
Yeah, look, I think I think traveling through those years was really just indicative of me coming into a more of like what's my journey, and where do I feel called? Like when I grew, was a young adult and started to just follow the kind of the winds of my own spirit, if you will. Yeah. And being in different countries and different cultures had me stretched out of my comfort zone for sure. And maybe the writing, started emerging through that. But, in times of my life, of recent times where I've been more still for different chapters, the writing's still there, so I think it's kind of like a muscle. Once you start flexing it, it's just there for you, the same as singing, once we start to open that up, it just seems like it's always there. So
is there a leap between poetry and songwriting?
I think the two are very intertwined, and for some people who are a bit more musically inclined, it's just like a natural, I kind of write and it's already sort of forming a melody, Whereas, other dear friends of mine, spoken word artists, people who are more in that field, or just written works. So I don't know. I can't really say how it happens for other people. I know that for myself, last year I went to a workshop with friend Luca Lesson, who's an amazing stand-up, spoken word artist. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time in my life that I'd performed a spoken word. I've performed in front of thousands of people all around the world, and that was really confronting. It was, just using words without. So the melody for me is the kind of carrier, it just rides in the music. Yeah.
So how was that experience, doing something completely different but so similar in the same vein?
Oh, it was great, and it was confronting, and it was one of those things where you just know you want to stretch yourself and have the courage and the volition to just kind of try something new.
Yeah.
Try something new. And anyone who's into permaculture knows that the edges is where a lot of the growth is. Where two environments are meeting. So it's like the expansion of ourselves, the way we express ourselves. If we like workshops and those environments are great for that, where you can be in a safe space, but you can just stretch your creativity, stretch your expression, and just find that it's okay, to push yourself in that way, and it feels good.
So what is your favourite way of stretching yourself? Is there just a whole myriad of things that come in and out? Because it seems like you make the conscious intention to, like you said, go on the spoken word journey and then try these and dabble these new things. And I think and seeing you live, just the myriad of instruments that come through and the live looping, and I can see that obviously there's a lot of stretching that would have occurred in that. Is it through the musical journey that you stretch yourself through different instruments and different applications of those instruments as well?
Yeah, I think for me, being a musician, it's kind of reflective in my musical path. But it's really just I think it's a core part of the journey of a human. We can look at humanity as a whole and see that there's something about the enchantment, being enchanted, and the new horizons, and the like whatever it is in our lives. It's like, oh, I've never been to that country, or I've never like been on that bushwalk, or whatever it is. It's like we're enchanted by the freshness of life, and it's almost like you could see us all in these different pathways, and we're all kind of going where someone else has been, or experiences something that someone else has done, and there's a beauty in that. We find the different expressions of our life path, and I think we just stretch ourselves along the way if we're living in a way that we're open to those horizons.
So when was the clear moment that you were enchanted with the path of a musician? So when did you realize that, okay, I identify with myself as a musician now, and it's going to be the path for me?
That's a great question, and I wouldn't really say there's a defining moment for that. I reflect on it sometimes, and I don't feel like I really set out to be a let's say spiritual, devotional kind of musician, or I feel like life just kind of funneled me into that, or like invited. There was an invitation to keep following the energy of that, and fortunately some years ago I got enough like positive encouragement just sitting around the fire and in all sorts of festivals and gatherings all around the world, and someone would just come up and be like, wow, that song was beautiful, man, I could really feel that, or oh, you got a great voice, like keep doing what you're doing. And they're those little things that just keep us sparking with it. We get enough positive feedback to continue forward. And so for me it's been like that. I'm also a carpenter, cabinet maker by trade. So for many years that was my bread and butter, and then the music was my passion. And over the years I slowly kind of turned that around, where now music is my income and my passion. And so that's it took some hard work, and it's also just a beautiful blessing to walk that journey.
Leaps of faith involved in stepping out of being being a carpenter and into making music, definitely.
Yeah, I think it takes some courage, and it takes a bit of faith in ourselves. It's so yeah, just believing that we can keep creating in this world the sort of life that we want to live. And particularly here we are in Australia, we've got so much opportunity, really, and so much access to resources, access to we can really go for it. In other parts of the world, the sort of horizons that we aspire to just aren't on the table. So we're really just so incredibly blessed, and I feel a gratefulness for that in my life.
Yeah, I read somewhere that the lotteries we win are, there's two lotteries, which is the parents you have and the place you're born in. And in living in Australia, I think we definitely are very, very blessed. It is a lottery ticket to be in such an abundant country. Yeah. And I mean, of course, there's also a lot of people just close by to us that are doing it really tough, and so there's lots of parts of the equation. But I think the more that we align with our heart, and the more that we align with just having a reverence, having a respect for every other person and for the beautiful country we live in. And I feel like that starts to be reflected in our life. And I think as we're talking about the country, I'd like to take this as the perfect segue to start talking about some of the, because some of the songs are in need of a better way. Why not? That's the best way. They're tribal, yeah. They're very about the land, about the water, about the wind, about the fire, which I absolutely adore that vibe personally, because for me, my spirituality inevitably comes back down to those 4 or 5 elements, including the heart. But yeah, you know, those elements, and you sing a lot about that, and you weave a lot of poetry in and around that. So, and I think, I'm not sure if that's the direction you were sort of touching on, but there are people in this country that don't have it as well as us, that were perhaps the natural custodians of this country. And from the vibe that I get from the songs that you've sung, you've spent some time and integrated some of the lessons from that culture. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even from a global perspective now, you know, we can see that, you know, the elders, the voice of the wisdom of the elders in all sorts of cultures, from all sorts of indigenous groups and lineages, you know, they're coming forward and just once again reestablishing this like simple wisdom of just like care for the earth, care for each other, you know, and show some respect. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful way to walk in this world. I feel like, you know, being connected to the elements is it's a type of medicine. You know, it feeds us, it heals us. You know, you know it yourself. You know, you go down to the beach or something, and you just feel that horizon. You feel the ocean and the sky. It's like you just breathe it in. It's like it's amazing. You know, sit by a warm fire on a crispy night, and you know, turn around, let it go into your kidneys. Is just like, oh, it feels so good, you know. So yeah, so a lot of my songs have just emerged into that articulation, you know, of reverence for the earth, the reverence for this beautiful living earth. Because the more that we appreciate, the more that we build a relationship, build a deep relatedness with our home, which is presently Mother Earth, the more that, you know, the deeper our journey, the deeper our connection to each other, the deeper the wisdom of our own being can come forward. And yeah.
So connecting with those indigenous cultures, you feel they're already inherently super connected, and they haven't lost their connection to the earth as much as perhaps we have, and that's why there's an abundance of inspiration in that space. Would that be?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, look, in every, you know, you can see it demonstrated in lots of different ways. You know, some indigenous people in Central South America are all about embracing the Western culture now, you know, and, you know, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, whatever it is. So I don't think there's necessarily like a general statement, but definitely, you know, the prominent, let's say the prominent wisdom keepers of all ages. I mean, you know, you got so much youth now that are just coming forward and just telling it like it is, you know, through hip hop, through all these other channels of expression, of just like, yeah, here we are, and we've got a few problems that we're dealing with environmentally, and we've got some solutions, and they're just like, you know, getting it on the table. And when it's coming from the heart, you can just really feel that, yeah, there's truth in that. Let's do what we can, you know. Let's keep connecting, keep community. So I
think with that community, I think music's always been like a global sort of phenomenon. But recently with the internet, where people can connect and relate to each other so much more deeply and so much more readily, and especially the future now with more and more independent artists being able to just go out and create things on themselves. Like, here we are, like, this is my independent art, if you will, you know, like, and I can just create, you know, from my living room. That's probably evolved the nature of music a lot, and perhaps even the depth. Is there something to reflect in that?
I feel for me it's a double-edged sword, and I mean, I love the technology, you know. I love here I am sitting in home in Yukai, we're having a chat, we can beam it out all around the planet, you know.
Amazing.
What a beautiful thing. And you know, I record and produce my music from home. I can collaborate with artists that are on the other side of the world, send sound files, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, the technology is incredible. And I guess it's all about creating a healthy relationship with it, where we're not, because there's just so much information, right? I mean, we're kind of saturated in moments, and so just to not sort of dilute things too much in a way. Like, I think that's, each of us cultivates that relationship in our own way. How much we use Facebook, how active we are on social media, and so we kind of cultivate a good relationship with the technology, and then I feel like it really serves us and serves the movement forward as a collective as well.
You mentioned a couple of words, which was dilute and technology, and I remember when I saw you live, you mentioned about the technology in the water. That song is so beautiful.
I'll drink to that.
And I was amazed at just the depth with which you, in the middle of a concert, stopped to share the wisdom about water and the memory of it. There was a lot to it, so I'm just holding space for that conversation once again, perhaps, just so we can share that a little bit further.
It's just an incredible element, isn't it? Like miraculous kind of spirited being. I just love standing back objectively and observing water. And just this morning I was down on the coast. I had a little bit of time free to jump in the ocean, and just coming down to the edge of that water, and just looking out on the South Pacific and kind of waving to New Zealand, and just like these vast bodies, referred to as Yemaya or Yemanjar in some cultures, body of the ocean. And the water has a lot to teach us. It has a lot of songs. I love going up in the creeks in the valley here and go to a little waterfall and just listen to the water. Turn on your tap at home, just have a little listen to the water. It's got a lot. It's got a lot in there.
The ability to cleanse,
the ability to wash away our sorrows, cry our tears, our sweat, grow our food. And, we're learning so much about water. It's all of these kind of obvious interaction we've had for so long as humanity and water. And, there's just some really cool information emerging now about the fourth phase of water being kind of like a plasma, like a jelly. And part of the water in our bodies forms this kind of structure, which I think is amazing. When I first came across that, you can just Google that fourth phase of water and find some cool info. And we're learning that water, even if you put water in a glass like this, and the water on the very top layer and the water down the edges, it changes its molecular structure. It's like a real, like a living thing. And the beautiful work of Dr. Emoto that kind of switched us on to essentially to frequency, which is magnified in water, but just the frequency that exists in all of existence. And so we can fill this world full of love, or we can fill this world full of fear and hatred. And the way it's demonstrated in the molecular structure of the water is a beautiful demonstration of that.
I absolutely love that. And then so listening to the depth of just the way you unpack and you just the research that you've done in that space, and then sourcing the inspiration from that to write songs, I'm sure there must be like a quid pro and the inspiration to connect with your spirituality and the elements, and then also to research more about the elements, and then that influencing nature. At some point, does it get overwhelming? Because the world is obviously, especially the songs that you sing about, are very connecting back to earth, very connecting back to, I guess the message that comes through most predominantly for me is that we are the earth. And thank you for that message, first of all. So thank you for that. But does that get overwhelming, brother? There's a lot going on with the earth that, we need to work on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, before we were talking about a healthy relationship with technology, and I feel like this is another relationship that we develop. We try and develop a healthy balance with, because I know I can only really speak from my personal journey. There's some times where I just can't let it all in. I just can't handle the situation we're in globally. The pain of a child with no parents, just all of these things, and we catch little snippets of it from all around the world now. And being empathic beings, we feel what's taking place for all of humanity, for all of the animals, for all of the destruction. That's all there. We can't sort of deny it or pretend it's not happening. So yeah, there's definitely times where I'm just like, whoa, yeah, just need to kind of just come in and focus on what's just in my immediate surroundings and get really solid with that. And there's other times where I'm, where I feel like I'm just like, yeah, bring it on. Like I wanna know what's the reality of this time, and I wanna draw that into me, and I wanna use that as fuel to like fire up my inspiration and fire up my compassion and my passion for just making my little humble offering as one human, and so yeah, it's a balanced path that it's feel like we in different moments there's a different response, but it's all connected.
You mentioned this before, that music in that space is a really good friend, and I think I sort of want to just touch back in on that in that space, because like you said, it's sometimes you go in and you go and explore all that with all that compassion and all that empathy, and then bring that back, and then perhaps lean on a friend in that space, and then the music is there to support you.
Yeah, that's really been true for my journey. And I feel like a lot of people, even though they might have not have articulated it in that way, a lot of people would say that music is a good friend. Not having to be a musician, because that feeling when you come home from some big day and you're just like, or you're moving through something really strong, and you're just like, oh, I want to hear that song. That's the song I want to hear, And I do it all the time. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, I want to listen to that artist right now, and there's something in the articulation, or the there's something in the music that like can open a space for us to feel. It can open a space for us to process emotion. It can open a space for us to heal and to feel. And yeah, what a beautiful thing.
Oh, it's magical, and there's a lot in that. Where do I want to go with that? So in the spaces to heal, I've like your concerts. Concerts, like even concert sounds a bit showmanship, and to be honest, just the humility with which you arrive into these spaces and you share so potently. I'd almost just call them sharings.
Thank you.
No, thank you. They're so deep and they're so profound, and that awareness, I think, how is it watching a whole space transform? Because I know for myself, my whole day is transformed depending on the music that I'm listening to. But that's just digital, right? That's just me tuning into something and me basically meditating myself into a space somewhat. But actually having a live space and then watching everybody open and blossom into that, like what's that experience like, holding space for that and bringing space into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an honor, and I'm really thankful what you articulated then, because that's really, a lot of my momentum, a lot of what I work towards, as an artist, is actually to remove the artist audience kind of boundary, and just to really journey together. I mean, I have the skills as a musician, but really what I love is these intimate concerts where we just travel together in the music, and yeah, it's a beautiful honor. I sometimes see it like this opportunity to offer some kind of healing session to hundreds or 1,000 people at once or whatever it is, and yeah, it's one of those great mysterious things, music, where it generates energy. It's like energy arrives, and stuff happens, and maybe it's a little more obvious for some people at a rock concert, or where it's just like and in the more intimate and soft ways, and the heart, and these beautiful spaces that we journey to. I feel like in a way that's where my music is really received. So it's a beautiful honor, and I feel so blessed to be able to travel and to tour in Europe and in the States and different places, and just bring the music, and
Is there I'd like to explore the idea of the ego and the humility in that, because obviously there is a pull with music so beautiful and so potent that people would want you to step into a space that's more glorified, bigger, bolder. Please come share in this venue like this, and then obviously staying true to the way you like to express your medicine, and then obviously have people come along on this journey. Is that how's the navigation of that, and what's that journey like?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's a very interesting time to be an independent musician. There's a lot of hats that I wear in that job.
Yeah.
I guess I like a lot of my friends who are on the same wave. I've had to get really resourceful. It's the music as I've never necessarily approached it as a business from a business model, but essentially to keep having the time and the space to create music, it does become a business of sorts. And so to at the moment, what it looks like in my life is I book all my own gigs, I do all my own graphics, I produce, record, and mix my own albums. I carry the sound gear. A lot of the time I carry the sound gear in, I set it all up, I'll go and sell CDs, so it's a trip, really. But I actually lost the trail of the original.
The question was around balancing the humility and the ego towards being sucked into trying to share something on a larger platform, which is what more and more people would want you to do, rather staying congruent to the space you like to afford and the journey vibe of everyone in the concert.
Yeah. Look, I think the nature of my music, and hopefully reflective of just the man I am in this world. Yeah, there is definitely a humility. I mean, we all go through this. We're all walking this path. We're all in it together, and I have my down days. I have my, it's like there's a lot of tortured artists out there who are being put up on a pedestal, or anyone, actors, all these people that become kind of like really a lot more well known than Murray Kyle, and it can be a lot to fall from. So for me, there's a humility in the music that I just feel like will always be there. I like to think that what I sing about and what I bring forward as an artist is very authentic to who I am, and at the same time, I'm really open to the expansion of that to larger events and to more support and more diversification of my artistry and music. So it's a great ride.
That's that edge again, isn't it? The growth and just yeah. Something you touched on, which is not where I was going to go, but my brain's just do your own graphics, because the cover of Talisman is
Thank you. Yeah, so that the Talisman cover, actually, for the first time, I collaborated with a friend.
Yeah.
And I came across her art. She's based in the States. I came across her art. Australia Luna is her name, and she has these beautiful hand-drawn, kind of totemic sort of glyph-like drawings. So yeah, I reached out to her and asked her about incorporating some of her art into the album cover of Talisman. So she sent me some scans, and I did kind of like a digital composition of her work. So yeah, that was really great to work with that.
Yeah, wow. So it's not just song, there's creativity in all these aspects of pulling it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I really appreciate that. I didn't realize that was part of it. And I think that's kind of where I was touching on before we had the conversation, which was, the idea of creativity and somewhat like entrepreneurialism. Like you said, you're showing up for a lot for yourself in terms of how you're going to share your music, who you're going to share it with, and even if it's the CDs and how you're going to get them to people and all that sort of stuff. Has that been, like, obviously there's quite a lot to learn in that space, and that's been a long journey, I presume, but some of the biggest takeaways, I guess, to share with some people that are on, I guess, a journey similar to yours, which are like in the music but want to follow it with their passion, but obviously there's going to be road bumps. And any advice for anyone in that space?
Yeah, I guess that, music-wise, there's so many different levels to the journey, and there's so many different motivations for why someone would want to learn music or deepen into music. A lot of people, it's it's just, like I said before, it's like a companion. It's this amazing, like, celebratory kind of vehicle for energy, and for others, it's there's more of a motivation to, like, perform or to share those gifts with the world. Open mic nights, and there's just so much good stuff going on where we come together in that creative energy together. So but yeah, I would say just find your voice, and not even in a singing way, but find what's authentically you. And because you could 1,000 people could pick up a guitar and play the same two chords and sing some words over the top, but it will be 1,000 completely different songs. And it's like the colors of a rainbow. It's like we've all got our specific way of articulating this experience of life, and you can bet your booties that there's someone out there who's going to hear what you create and be touched by it. Yeah.
So those how important is it to express oneself?
Great question. Well, I guess anyone listening or watching this video will know the truth of that, which is so important. Whatever it looks like in your life, it might be like going for a run with your dog. It might be, making some epic meal for a friend, or but yeah, expressing ourselves, I feel like, is also intrinsically connected to vitality and to our frequency. We're beings of frequency. If our frequency gets too low, we start to get disease. Funky cells get into the body when your body reaches a certain oscillation, and a very, very low oscillation of vitality is death. So to keep energy moving in our body, I feel like expression is medicine like that. And one thing I love is, if I'm feeling, just lethargic or something, I just stand and I just like wobble, and I just like
shake,
I just like wobble my whole body and just like let it. Yeah, and because I'm a singer, a musician, or because I'm a human, like I sound as well. So like, someone's just making all sorts of crazy sounds, and just letting the body guide where it's kind of like needs a bit of movement. And naturally, like yoga, all of these great ways of developing like flexibility, developing poise, developing balance. These are ways of expressing, expressing through the body, dance, great stuff.
Yeah, I totally resonate with that. I found creativity, that's kind of my little nugget of insight too that I sit with in this heart, is that creativity, when you come back to the elements, nature is creative. And she's always creating, and what you touched on with disease is like you're not being in service to nature and its natural ways by not being creative, and that's why expression is like maximize your expression to be in service, and that vitality arrives when you're being creative.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I feel like it looks different in everyone's life, there's
it has to,
yeah,
we're all snowflakes.
That's the diversity of us. And yeah, so whatever it looks like in your life. And I mean, I can attest to this is a really cool topic, because I feel like we underestimate the power of aligning with creative energy. I feel like I've underestimated it for a long time in my life, and of recent years I've really seen the way that the more that I just stay authentic to creation and to how creation wants to create me, the more that I see it ripple into my life, and essentially into this world. And there's a beautiful feeling, and for me it comes in really potently when I'm in the middle of writing a song. There's a certain feeling there, which you could call it a meditation, you could call it a therapy, you could call it lots of different things, but there's a certain deep place of connection. It's like a prayer, when I'm in the middle of songwriting, and it feels good.
I love that. Yeah, that's all filled with all the good juju. I was gonna ask a question around this, and I think that's kind of where I've landed as well. Is creation wants to create me, and that expression of what's coming through, and then obviously we've been talking a lot about energy, and perhaps all energy is borrowed, or it's just shape-shifting at all times. There's a lot of energy in your songs, a lot of positive, upbeat, really driving energy. Even the songs that sing home about really deep things that are happening to the planet, which we can really take charge on. Even then, there's like an upward. There's always it's almost like it's imbued with a mission statement upwards, which is absolutely phenomenal and a blessing for those listening. So that energy, obviously, it's a reflection of your own vibe, but also, do you ever, like, how does that dance work? Does it get heavy, and then you, like, what's, I guess I'm trying to have a conversation around energy. Yeah.
It's something I reflect on sometimes. People who followed my music through the years. Sometimes I get asked that, because there's a lot of artists out there that write from a very, perhaps more personal, and who write from the shadow, write from the darkness, which is dancing inside of all of life as well. And I'm not really sure if I have a really clear answer to respond to that. I mean, I feel like I've led a very blessed and an amazing life of abundance, and with all the normal human stuff and family constellations and the things we're gifted to deal with, But I've had a really well supported life, and there's something in me that is maybe just a little hardwired into when my offering comes forward. Like, even if I'm writing a song about a really deep time in my life, there's something in me that loves to resolve it, like to bring it to a place of trust, to bring it to a place of acceptance, to bring it to a place of, like, recognizing the gold amongst the stones, because all of the experiences of this life have a medicine for us. They're all teaching us something about the world and who we are in it. And it's it's amazing to have the space in our lives to ponder the esoteric nature of this reality. And it's a beautiful way of evolving our consciousness.
Wow. Believing in the perfectness of where we are, the trust and the acceptance, those themes in there are, I think, quite deep, and it's beautiful to have you share that, because I think that's, for me personally, and I'm sure probably a lot of those tuning in, it's not always voluntary available. It's something that really takes a leap from time and time again. And it's almost like sometimes I wonder if you need those leaps to build the muscle. It's like you've got to contract and then step in and step out. But yeah, that's really a potent message. So exploring the esoteric is. Was it always clear to you that your expression in your music was always going to be something about the divinity of all things and the mystic nature of all things? Is that just always how you've been in the persona of Murray Kyle, or?
Well, I wouldn't say always. I've once again, I feel like it's just my life path has just sort of presented me into this moment, and the experiences I've had and the path that I've walked has, in a word you could say it's been a pilgrimage, many a mountaintop and many a valley, and the energies and the experiences that I've had in sacred sites and in ashrams and just different journeys like that have, I guess, like heightened that. It's like, as a songwriter, you can sit down with a blank page and you can be like, what do I want to do with this page? What do I want to say? What's important to me? Any music that of depth, and of substance. So it's like, it's literally, I'm like, well, what's my message? If you could tell your message to thousands of people, what do you want to say? And it's like, for me, it's like, what an incredible mystery that surrounds us in every moment. And let's love each other. Let's like care for each other. Let's care for the planet. Let's, just once again, just like simple wisdom that makes such a difference to our world and to our lives. So.
I love that message. So the depth you mentioned as well, but then you touched on simplicity, and that's an interesting dance, isn't it? How the simplest things always are the deepest and the truest. We love to overcomplicate things, right?
Absolutely. Well, I was just reflecting on this a few days ago. I was just like, I'm reflecting on my personal journey and looking at all the sort of deep cathartic kind of works and all these sort of different really deep journeys that I've walked through the years, and really in a way it always for me comes back again to simple silent breathing meditation. Like that is just, I think, just one of the most profound things we can ever do is take a few minutes every day just to close our eyes and just breathe, and just let all the mind just settle down a bit. And I mean, it's just so simple, but I witness it in my life, when I take that time, it ripples out. It just makes such a difference. And it's like, we don't, it doesn't cost thousands of dollars. It's just like, it's just so simple, but we, it's like, I need to reinvigorate that in myself all the time as well. It's almost like so simple that we miss how powerful and potent that it is.
And I find those are always the first things to go as well. And whenever life starts to get kind of hectic, kind of crazy. It's like those simple things which are like so integral to you, just finding your center, finding your balance, are usually the first things that get flicked out. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, why that way?
Yeah, and the kind of cruel irony they're actually the moments where we really need those skills. That's what's going to help us through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. So, a couple of questions. I've always wanted to know this, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm sorry for doing this to you. But is there a song of your own that is your favorite? Like, does that happen to an artist?
That's a great question. There's a few songs that through the years have just really stayed prominent with me, you know. But as for a favorite, you know, it's similarly, if someone said, "What's your favorite song of anyone's?" It's like depending on the moment, you know.
Totally.
So, you know, if I'm feeling kind of like get my groove on, you know, I'll be like, oh, that's the song, man. If I'm feeling like just like, oh, I'm having a bit of a deep day, you know, there'll be something else that'll really speak to me. So yeah, but there's been a few songs through the years that have, and you know, something I without blowing my own trumpet, I love about my music, something that is you know, it's quite timeless, it's quite universal. So that, you know, there's songs I wrote years and years ago, and I could pick up my guitar today and really feel them still, you know. And it's so as much as I'm telling my journey through the music, it's also has a touch of the universal, which is always relevant, you know, to this life. Yeah,
it's beautiful, and why your songs are just such a blessing to receive because of the infinite nature of some of the things that, or basically almost everything that you share, like the elements, like the esoteric, the cosmos, our relationship to the earth, and all that good stuff, and loving each other.
Yeah. Must be. Maybe I should just sing a quick little a cappella something for listeners out there. What do you reckon?
No.
I just so I got the beautiful Mount Wollongong, normally Mount Warning, just gazing up at it here. So I'll send, this is just a little short one I'll send to you guys. Turning our hearts to the sun, roots down deep, stand strong as a mountain, light up the fire within. Song of the water flow as a fountain. Time has come for the daughters and sons. Now is the hour, lift up the power. New way of living, growing up from the ground. Old paradigms come crumbling on down as we turn our hearts to the sun. Yeah. Roots down deep, stand strong as a mountain. Light up the fire within. Song of the water flow as a fountain. Time has come for the daughters and sons. Now is the hour, lift up the power. New way of living, growing up from the ground. Old paradigms come crumbling on down. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Beautiful. Okay, that's going to be my favorite, at least for the little while.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. So, on that note, I'll start to venture towards wrapping things up, as much as I'd love to sit here and talk to you all day. I know you've got other things to do with your agenda. Is there... okay, so while just the energy of Murray having shared a song, I just want, for those listening in Melbourne, which is obviously where the podcast is coming from, Murray is going to be playing with Rising Appalachia at Series, Series is amazing, Murray is amazing, Rising Appalachia amazing, get yourself there. It's called Synergy. It's going to be an awesome little event. And it's on the 21st of Jan, so it's about 9 days from now. Obviously, a lot of you will be listening to this podcast in the future, so do just tune in to Murray's stuff. We'll have a little spiel about that, but I just wanted to, while the energy of song was in the space, I just wanted to share that with you guys while the inspiration was strong. So, quick question that I had was reading, just a little bit about reading. Is there a book that you've read or that you love that you would share to your beloved? What's your favorite one? Is there any? I know it's always hard to say one,
Yeah.
but yeah, is there something like that in the space?
Okay, I'm gonna quickly Google the author right now.
Awesome.
So it's called The Untethered Soul.
The
The Journey.
Untethered Soul.
Yeah, his name's Michael Singer,
Michael
and
Singer.
some of the listeners might know some of his work. He's essentially a Buddhist teacher. So yeah, Eastern philosophy, but he has this beautiful way of bringing it together with with a modern viewpoint and with all of the kind of the funkiness of the modern world. So yeah, the untethered soul, it's really gold. Like I just keep going back to that book. It's got a lot of spiritual ground and power in it.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Another question I've got on the way out is if Murray could pick up a phone and dial into his, let's say, 20, 21-year-old self, would there be a dialogue, and what would be the nuggets of that dialogue?
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like this life brings to us what we really need, and of course, there's a tendency in if I was to talk to myself when I was 21, I'd be like, look out for that, don't do that, and when you're about to do that, man, don't, But it's like, here I am in this moment, living such a rich life, so deep with everything, with the inevitable stumbling blocks, the broken heart, there's like all these things that form us and mold us and sculpt us into the beings that we are. So I'd probably just say to myself, just breathe a little more, just like go easy on yourself. You're going to be just fine.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And my last but by no means least question is my favourite question. I ask this of everyone, and it's esoteric in its nature, and whatever may come, may come. Who are you beyond your story, beyond your song, beyond your identity?
Beautiful question. I would say I'm emptiness. I would say I'm completeness. I would say I'm part of you. I would say, yeah, I'm consciousness moving through all space and time, moving through all life. I'd say that I'm life scattering my cells into a billion little fragments in order to witness myself on the road back to belonging. And,
Love that. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you for everything. The songs that you share, the devotion to yourself, the devotion to people that you want to help and share and heal and contribute to and really inspire. I know for myself, the Inspired Evolution, the minute I heard you play live, it was, and even like having listened to you prior to that, but the minute I saw you live and the way you so humbly presented yourself to share in that co-creation in that space, and how we all felt interconnected, and the family vibe, tribe vibe that we had in that space. And it was something that it felt so unique and so special, yet it was completely, you could tell that it was a conscious effort to create that you continuously cultivate the ability to do that, which for me was like, this is just magic, and I cannot wait to sit down and have a chat and explore your story and share your vibration and frequency with all those. I'm naturally inspired to evolve by listening to what you have to share, and to be able to share that further on is an absolute blessing, and I'm humbled to be here today and share this time with you. So I really want to express gratitude for all that you are and all that you do and all that you're becoming. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, well, I just want to say thanks to you, and it was great to connect down in Melbourne face to face, and a recently beautiful meeting, and just really honor your exuberance, and you, like I said before, it's just that you got this kind of contagious, like, energetic, like, let's do some cool shit kind of vibe, you know, and I love that. And, you know, beaming that smile into the world is good, such good medicine for us all. So, yeah, thanks, and blessings with the project, you know, forward. And this is what our world needs right now. All the media, you know, conscious media, conscious content to keep each other awake, keep each other lifted up. And yeah, if anyone wants to follow me a little more, I've got a website up. Just Google Murray Kyle, Kyle, and yeah, just want to say that all of whoever this finds, you know, yeah, just I hope you follow the threads of connection, you know, and that connection can find you in your life, you know, whatever it looks like, then you can feel a place of belonging in this world, because that's a really important thing.
Aho.